Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among many other things. Now, we're taking a look here today at Solana, which is one of my favorite coins. I can tell you it is a beast here in the last 3 days of trading, up over 60%, which is fantastic. We like to see that when good quality coins take off. Now, thank you to my community members for recommending that I cover this. You know who you are. I really greatly appreciate you. Moving forward, I'm also not a financial advisor. I've been in the industry for a very long time, but I always recommend that you do your own research. This is for educational purposes only, but more importantly, take ownership of your own trades. And what I mean by that is just learn as much as you can from as many people as possible, right? Don't just, learn one thing from everyone and expect it to work out, right? You got to kind of develop your own style, and hopefully this will help you with that. So I like to teach you how to trade for a lifetime, not just for one day, and that's kind of my goal and my purpose here. Also note, if you'd like to kind of sit on autopilot, or more importantly, kind of follow my trading style, I do share my trades with my community members. Link in the description below. Be sure to check that out in your own time. But I have currently about an 80% success rate, utilizing everything you're going to learn here today, right? So either way, reference that again in your own time. Also check out my Telegram community too. Good group of folks there. We got almost 700 members so far in the last 3 months alone. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right to it. Let's check it out. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look here today at Solana. And just before we do, we always look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first to get a quick baseline of the market so we know exactly what's going on, because any good trader will understand every angle possible before making an investment. You never just jump in arbitrarily without understanding all the angles, okay? So that's the whole point of this, obviously. And if you're a return viewer, appreciate the support. And if you're new, I'll hopefully teach you a thing or two today. Now, first things first, I utilize TradingView.com, or desktop application. Fantastic charting tool, so I recommend you check that out in your own time, of course. I do have, I use the paid version, essentially. It gives me much more indicators than just two present at one time. So start with a free one, see if you like it. Maybe reference the link below if you want to check that out. For referral link, gives you like $30 free, so you can kind of check out the premium version for a month and see if you like it. I definitely recommend it though. It's well worth every penny, but obviously I do this every single day, so it's a different story for some. Regardless, we're going to go ahead and enable our simple moving averages, and the main reason why is because, first of all, they hold and control the market. Well, let me explain. What I mean by that is those who control the market follow these indicators, right? So we want to go ahead and follow along with them and make sure we understand what they're seeing, and make sure to obviously follow along, because there's no point in trying to swim upstream when everyone else is just floating downstream, right? So looking at this here, we got the 50-day simple moving average. That is this orange line here, and the 200 is the purple line. Now all this big mess that I have drawn up here, I'm sorry, I know there's kind of a lot going on here, but the bottom line is that there's a lot of reasons for it, right? These are major support and resistance levels. So just note that the resistance of about 47,800 was tested 2 times and rejected over the weekend. The resistance of 46,500 has been tested multiple times in the past. That was a recent rejection, as well as the fact that we have 45,200 approximately that's been tested multiple times as well, and that was just rejected here a moment ago. Furthermore, we have an ascending wedge pattern as well, or ascending triangle, that's kind of coinciding with the 50-day simple moving average. So a lot of good things for Bitcoin right now. I feel like we got pretty strong support levels, and for the most part, we should expect to see the price, bounce back up and recover. And what's also good too, and the reason why I drew this ascending triangle pattern, is that we need to understand higher highs, right? Higher highs and higher lows are very important. So if you look here and you see, we got higher highs, they keep getting higher. And of course it got stunned out here, that wasn't higher, but this is still a higher low, right? So as long as this low doesn't go much any lower than here, we're still in good shape to have higher highs and higher lows, right? That's generally the concept. So just something to note. That's kind of the overall state of Bitcoin right now. Very similar in the sense for Ethereum. It's pretty much making its just straight diagonal increase. This is awesome because these are major increases, and also just beneficial situations. What else? I don't know how else to describe it. It's basically the same exact thing as Bitcoin, only a little bit more linear. It's more of a straight line, so to speak, which is great because there's a strong chance we're going to probably exceed 3,550. That's basically the current resistance level. The next major resistance that we'll see get tested again once Bitcoin breaks up above 47,800, maybe just say 48,000 as a rough estimate, then we're going to see Ethereum take off again. But it's still holding true to the 50-day simple moving average, at least for the most part. Yes, it did just break below, but there's a strong chance it could continue back upwards. It's not officially underneath yet because the fact that obviously on the 1-day chart, it tells us a different story. Okay, just keep that in mind. But all in all, Ethereum's in very good shape right now. We shouldn't expect to see any type of retracement. If we do, we have a strong support here at about 2,900. That's actually extremely strong support. It was only tested twice here, but it was rejected 10 times before it became a support, and that makes it even stronger of a support level, right? So bear none. Worst case scenario, if you're going to go long on this one, set your stop limit or your stop loss essentially at 2,900 or just under. You'll probably be pretty safe. Moving on to Solana. So Solana's been making some moves recently, and it's so funny how this works out because you know, a lot of people close their position recently thinking it wouldn't make its you know, make a new all-time high, but hey, here we are. This is great news. So let's go ahead and take a look first of all at the 1-day chart. Okay, now the 1-day chart tells a pretty interesting story. Obviously, Solana's done very well in the past, retraced, but what's cool is it didn't retrace super hard. So when Bitcoin decided to sell off, Solana keeps its value. So that's something you need to understand. This is a good fundamental coin that has a lot of benefits. Big picture, look into that in your own time. But those fundamentals are kind of shining through here in the sense that it's breaking out when Bitcoin is still going sideways and or retracing, you know, plus or minus 2,000 or 3,000. So this is a fantastic sign. Obviously, we're above both simple moving averages. The previous resistance has been broken. And then furthermore, we of course have, this is going to be a new support. The previous all-time high of about $56 is a really close approximate. That's going to be the new support. So if you're going to set a stop loss or a stop limit, make sure to go ahead and put that right around $56 or just below, maybe 55.5. That way, price comes retracing back down, you're still going to be in good shape to be able to, you know, maintain your profit and your position. Obviously, the RSI is extremely overextended. It's at about 86, 87 right now. So, I mean, there's no doubt that it's going to continue to go sideways likely soon. But if you can see its history, anytime it's come up over 70 on the RSI, it just goes sideways. It doesn't come back down. The only reason why it came back down here, of course, was May 19th, right? That's the China candle. So just keep that in mind. I mean, like even April 17th, look what happened on April 17th. The price went up when Bitcoin went down 15%. Gives you any indication, right? Today, what, Bitcoin went down 5% or something to that effect, and look at the price increase. What did it do? Well, that's you know, 61% in 3 days, but generally speaking, you split the difference 20% per day. That's pretty darn good. Obviously, the MACD converged on the 24th of July, which is pretty standard considering Bitcoin, you know, jumped up there. Also note too, the price bounced off the 200-day simple moving average. So really good things here for Solana. This is what good quality coins look like. Moving on to the 4-hour chart. Let's see here. Let's take a look. Obviously, we had some retracement here. This is probably the sideways action we might be seeing here soon. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this for a few more days. I personally would be surprised if the price continues, you know, straight up here soon, because in order for any good increase, as we always, you know, understand or should understand, I try to, you know, practice this in every video that I make. It's important to understand that when there's retracement usually occurs about 50% of the original starting point. Now, good quality coins like this won't necessarily retrace that far down because, again, we passed an all-time high here. But furthermore, it's just kind of, you know, the nature of something like this. Solana tends to go sideways and not retrace. Now, any good bull run is going to have a period of consolidation, ergo sideways, right? Sideways action, we need that. So if all goes well, we see Solana go sideways and then up again. It should leg up again soon, but I don't think it'll happen in the next 24 hours. I hope so. It could. But honestly, at this point, I think it's kind of risky to consider adding to your position until we see if there's a possibility of retracement back down to $56. Moving on, looking at the MACD, obviously we had a strong convergence on the 15th, which was yesterday at 1 a.m. Let's go ahead and mark that. And I like to just see how there's a correlation on the cloud as well. Obviously, RSI is high. It came back down and bounced. So, you know, we're still over 70. Which isn't bad nor good. It just means that it's considered overbought, and there's a strong likelihood, again, of it normally retracing, but I would say probably more so just going sideways. If it does retrace, again, keep in mind we have a really strong support level at $56. So be prepared with your stop losses there. Moving on to the 1-hour chart, let's go ahead and enable the Ichimoku cloud and take a look here. No surprise, the price was above the cloud technically 3 days before. Right? So we got an indication of a buy signal on April August 12th. And then, of course, August 15th, we had that convergence on the MACD when the price shot up. So there's two things you want to look for if you're a swing trader. MACD on the 4-hour chart for convergence, will the 12 intersects with the 26 in an upward fashion. The other thing you want to look at as well is, of course, the Ichimoku cloud, which obviously when the price is above, it's considered a buy signal. Price is below, it's considered a sell signal. And we're going to see a lot of price action here that's above the cloud. And that's what happens when we have kind of a consistent bull run. In other words, ever since July 21st, when Bitcoin surpassed 30,000, being sub 30,000 for the first time in a long time. This is what happens. This is what altcoins look like. They eventually take off. Some of them really just ramp up and come out of nowhere. Solana makes sense because there's really good fundamentals, but you should expect to start seeing this kind of price action from a lot of different coins right now. And that's just based on the fact that Bitcoin is nearing 50,000, and that's a pretty strong resistance level. But for altcoins, altcoin season kind of occurs when you have all these coins, or more so, sorry, the Bitcoin ramping up the way that it has, especially considering the fact that people are taking taking their losses and reinvesting it, because we're finally, a lot of people are finally more profitable now than they were before. Regardless, that doesn't matter. What's important here is that the Ichimoku cloud, we're above the cloud, so it's good. Another thing to note too is it might come into the cloud. If it does, just keep in mind it's not considered a buy signal. When it's below the cloud, it's a sell signal. Above, it's a buy. Within the cloud, it's a no buy. You're just not technically supposed to buy when you're in the cloud, because it's kind of at a state of indecision and it's switching gears from bullish to bearish or bearish to bullish. Also, keep in mind too, it can work as a support level. So there's a strong chance the price will go sideways and kind of bounce up and go off. All right, looking at the TD sequential next. Yeah, now here's an example of how TD sequential works, right? So commonly when you see a 9 on TD sequential, it kind of indicates that there's a sell signal, right? Or more importantly, there's going to be a reversal, because if you're shorting, it's more so a buy signal. But regardless, if you're looking at just say 1 to 9, let's just go ahead and take a look at this here. We see this 1 to 9. So you see 1 all the way to 9. What is supposed to happen traditionally is, because that's 9 hours of bullish momentum, it basically needs to retrace. Commonly it goes sideways or retraces. That's what most coins do. Obviously Solana's on top of a bull run, and we can look at the EMA on the 15-minute chart and identify that pretty quickly. But here, looking at this, pretty straightforward. We see a 9 right here. Therefore, it's supposed to turn around. Now, obviously, there's a lot of bullish momentum where we swung, the MACD swung upwards on the 4-hour chart just before this, as we can see right here, I marked that. So therefore, this bull run continues, right? So it keeps pushing, keeps pushing, keeps pushing. It doesn't reset all the way up until here. That's almost what? I don't know, 14, 16 hours later? And then it starts counting down, right? So the bottom line is when you see a 9 with the TD sequential, you want to pay attention and see if the price might continue to start to retrace. If it's on obviously a strong bull run, we had a convergence just before, you just broke through the cloud. There's a lot of other factors where you don't want to just instantly sell because of it. But traditionally speaking, the 9 is kind of a signal of the fact that it's been moving in that same direction for too long. And if you see here as well, you see the 1 count up to a 6, it reset down to a 1, and then we hit a 7, and now we reset again based on this recent pump here in the last hour. So that's what consolidation periods look like. It's usually counting 1 through 4, 1 through 6, not really truly hitting a 9. But then once you see a 9, just say for example, this starts counting down and hits a 9, bounces off of support, that'd be a strong indication for a buy signal. Okay. All right, so those are just things that I like to look for in my signal group, and I do share all of my trades with my community members. So if you are kind of new to the channel or if you've seen this before, just know I do have an option where I share all of my trades with my members, and that is available through my Patreon account. So check that out in your own time. But let's go and take a look at the 15-minute chart next, kind of see what's going on here. Now the 15 is a good for identifying entry points, right? Obviously we've identified we're in the middle of a bull run and we're going with some sideways action with consolidation for the most part. Or at least we want to see consolidation, because if this ramps up again, it might become too overextended and it may retrace. Personally, I prefer to see the price come down, bounce off of support, and then take entry at a lower price. That's kind of how I prefer to do it. I like buying and investing at major support and resistance levels. And just bear in mind too, if you're new to trading, previous all-time highs are very strong support levels moving forward. Okay, That's kind of why I feel confident with 56 being a strong support. But looking at here, I mean, just this is a prime example here of how this works. First of all, EMA and VWAP, those are my two favorite tools that I utilize as a day trader. I combine swing trading with day trading, which is very controversial and something you should be careful with, right? But the way that I kind of teach this, you can still do it comfortably. Just try not to switch between, never make a day trade a swing trade. It can be very, very hazardous. But what I'm getting at here is the fact that, so we've already identified we're in kind of a bull run, but we're getting some consolidation. The price may continue. In order to identify a good entry point, you look at the price and want to make sure it's over EMA. Now, EMA is this red line here. And if you look back, this is what I identified earlier. I mentioned that we hit a 9 somewhere in here on TD sequential. The price continued upwards. Well, regardless of that signal telling us that we might have a retracement soon, the price was over EMA this entire time. So you see this here? Bounce off, not terrible line, sorry. Bounce off support, bounce off support. Pretty much every time it tests the EMA line, it continues to stay above. There's a short consolidation period here, of course. It's a little state of indecision, but look at that. It's holding above VWAP, right? So VWAP is working as a support level. So the thing to understand here is when you enable, just say EMA, and this is, by the way, the EMA 15. So you just type in, you go to indicators, just type in EMA, and you find you basically adjust it to 15. The common default, by the way, is 9 and 20. Those are 2 indicators. I prefer just 1 to make it a little simple, like blend the average. But bottom line is when you're in a bull run or a bear run, either way, it's going to continue to test it, and it basically tells you this is a momentous indicator. It's the same thing with the MACD. The MACD is a 12 and a 26 intersecting consistently. This is just layered on top of the price action, so it's nice because it continues up with the price, and we get to know if this is considered to be a bull run or if the price is going to retrace. So anyways, looking at this here, we got the EMA, we verified that yes, we're above EMA. Right now we just broke above as well. Also note too, the VWAP is this blue line. That's the volume weighted average price. So it takes the volume the last 24 hours, expresses it as a price, because volume is a very underrated metric that people oftentimes overlook. Now, I don't need to enable it very frequently because I can already kind of tell when certain things are shifting based on these other indicators. But generally speaking, if you have too much volume in one direction, there's exhaustion, and there's going to be a reversal. But what the VWAP does, it kind of tells us where the price is in conjunction with where the volume should be. In other words, right now the volume based on the price should be $65.30, whereas the price is actually upwards of $69, almost 70, right? So let's see what kind of variance that is. From the VWAP to the top, we're at about 7%. So we're reaching a point in which it's going to become a little bit on the overextended side. Anything closer to 10% starts to, there it goes, it starts to retrace, and we could see a reversal, right? So this is why I feel like we're going to see some type of consolidation period for a little while, just because Solana has a tendency of just shooting up and then retracing a little bit with these little consolidation patterns. But bottom line is what I'm getting at here is the fact that you want to try to find a good entry point. I would say right now is not a good entry because it seems to be overextended. I would prefer, again, for the price to retrace down to 56, bounce, invest, or add to my position and continue with that in mind. So I would say just hope for retracement and set your buy order at like $58 or $57. Regardless, what I'm trying to get at is just the fact that when the price is over EMA and VWAP, that is considered two very positive signs, right? Because you're moving in the momentum of the bears, right? Sorry, the bulls rather. It's not bearish, it's bullish, and you're obviously also above VWAP. Now, VWAP, I didn't explain this, I apologize. It's a volume weighted average price, and what it does, it works as a support and resistance level, right? So continuously you're going to get support and resistance levels, and if we just look back here, as you can see, when the price was coming up here, came down to test VWAP, held above, came down, test VWAP, held above, and above again, right? So it's pretty consistently staying over this, right? So that just means we're in the middle of a strong bull run. So that being said, there is a chance we might see a pump from Solana, considering the fact that these are signals to buy, and the fact that a lot of industry leaders are utilizing the same signals, and they're trying to pump up the price right now. Just bear in mind, oftentimes when they do that, they want to sell at a specific point and then drive the price back down. Okay, that's why I always think it's kind of reckless to invest when prices are this overextended, and I think it's just something kind of recipe for disaster. So just be cautious, be careful. If you are going to invest right now, set a stop limit at the most recent support level, which to me is only $56. However, you could honestly say there's a support at about $61 approximately, or just keep moving up your stop loss until you take profit. Heaven forbid you get stopped out, you can enter back again if it comes down to test support. All right, there's different theories, different ways you can utilize this, but again, just be careful, be cautious. I'm more of a careful trader myself. You'll see that in my trading styles. And, I think this just buying something that's overextended can be cautious. Yes, you can miss out on some profits, but why buy now when it could come back down and you could invest when it's a little bit lower? Again, some coins never turn around, right? Like ADA, for example. I tried to find entry on that a few times recently, and it went from 149 to 170 to 190 to 210. And I missed out on that. I'll be honest, it doesn't always work out that way. So I could definitely be wrong here, but I do think that it's going to slow down soon. And if not, we'll see at least some sideways action, possible retracement. So without sounding like a broken record, that's all I have for you here today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found benefit. If you do, comment below. If you don't, that's okay too. Feel free to join my Telegram community, get to know the members there. We're coming up on 700 members, and it's been growing quite rapidly considering I just started this about 3 months ago. Right? Thank you again so much for your time. We'll see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.